This, do you consider this to be either a rivalry, a budding rivalry, or do you have to play meaningful games in the playoffs for that to actually kind of take hold?
Oh, that's a good question. I think for it to be like a real rivalry, you probably have to go through some history and play in the playoffs. But I think there's still, obviously that energy of a rivalry. Having, we're here in the biggest city in the country with the incredible basketball history and two teams that are competing and playing good basketball. So I think it sets the stage for a rivalry for sure.
Coach, LeMarcus and Blake are such different players. I'm wondering how they change the profile of what you're able to do offensively and defensively with your starters.
LA's just shot the ball so well. He's got great length around the basket too, where he can get a few, putbacks and, mid-low post moves and down low and his shooting, obviously we know is prolific. So, he's able to space the floor and do some things there offensively. He's also obviously got a great IQ and experience to sort of the mix. And then defensively, he uses his IQ and length and experiences to be effective down there as well.
Steve, I wasn't in practice yesterday, so I don't know if you were asked this, but the other night, James made a comment about being uncertain sometimes whether he's a passer or a scorer. Have you heard that at all? Have you discussed that with him and, address that kind of indecisiveness or what you're looking for?
Well, I always want James to attack. I want him to attack and put pressure on the defense. If it ends in a shot more times than not, great. If it ends in a pass more times than not, that's great too. So for me, I don't want to necessarily pigeonhole him into you have to score, you have to play make. I want him to be aggressive, be himself, and make plays. And
if I could just follow up, with your injury situation, do you need him to score like the James of old?
I don't know about need, I think it's interesting with the makeup of our team, particularly with the injuries. It's a different puzzle, that we have to solve. So trying to find, the spacing and the combinations out there that give us good opportunities at the basket. That changes slightly with all the different lineups. So I don't want to get too focused on what he needs to do. I just want James to play, be aggressive, have fun out there, be himself, and continue to, chip away at his rhythm, confidence, timing, and physicality. I think he's trended in the right direction now, clearly for a month, and really proud of the effort and the growth he's made after a long summer of just rehabbing. So, it's for me, I just want him to stick to that task of trying to have fun, enjoy, attack, be aggressive, and continue to find his health, his rhythm, and his confidence.
Steve, Kevin's playing a lot of minutes and also guarding the opposing top wings a lot. I don't know, does any part of you worry about the load he's carrying, or are you asking more from him than you expected to coming into the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal to have him, have such a burden, but I don't know what options we have other than to play him less and lose more. He's a great player, and we're down a few really, a great player and a really good player and a few others. So I don't know that we have the luxury right now. Now, hopefully the season gives us opportunities. He had one recently with the shoulder where he missed the game, didn't play for 4 days. So that lessens the blow and allows him to kind of regenerate. And, but he's going to have a lot of responsibility, and that's just the way it is. And when we can, we will try to give him reprieve.
You mentioned being down a great player and a very good player. I'm wondering whether whatever Cam has shown you to this point, do you see his role expanding almost out of necessity?
I like it. I like a little background music myself. It's this.
Now, how does that make you feel?
I got all night. Let's take our time. Sorry. What did you ask? Right, Cam. Yeah, Cam. Look, I think Cam's such a young player, and he's 20 years old. There's a nice Christmas commercial on behind me. But Um,
All right, here we go.
Sorry.
Maybe on the field.
It looks like it,
So I don't want to like make any big claims about where we're going. We believe in him. We love the player we were able to draft. But this is a process. I think Cam's. I'm proud of the growth he's made because he has a huge adjustment to make from the role he played his whole life to the role that we were asking him to play, not just with the makeup of our team and those kind of primary scorers we have in James and Kevin, but also the shift from a high school and college game where he was off the dribble scorer, a lot of mid-range shots, to the NBA game now that doesn't necessarily allow room for that for other than, a dozen guys or so. So that's a big change. And he's been outstanding, I think, at being willing to adjust and showing that he can still find a way to play and grow defensively. So if his role grows, I think it's more on his continued development than it is on our necessity, because that's too big a burden to throw on him just to be like, hey man, jump ahead 2 years for us real quick here. So, but we're proud of him. We think he's really put in an effort to try to improve and grow and fit into a new role, a new team, a new league. And that's impressive.
Hey, Steve, I was going to ask you about two Knicks players. One is your godson, RJ. What do you make of his improvements over the last few years? And then the second is Kemba. I read somewhere you worked out with him, years ago. And, do you kind of understand what he's going through right now with his knee and as an older player who's been put out of the rotation?
Yeah, I do. We've had BG obviously lately go through it as well. It's not easy. You feel for him. I've been there myself, and it's tough. Kemba's a great human being, great teammate. No matter how great a teammate, how great an attitude you have to take that scenario into account, it's very difficult for a guy who competes and wants to play and prepares the way he does to play. So that's a tough situation for him. But I have no doubt that he'll have the attitude and continue to have the character that he's always had in the league. And RJ, I think, is a very young guy still, but has all the characteristics and the personality. He wants to win. He wants to do the right things for the team. He'll do whatever the coach says. He works at his game. I think he's improved his shooting, and we're noticing as he grows here, he can become a really good two-way player in this league. So, Tibbs doesn't mess around. So the amount of minutes he gives him, I think, shows the things that he does that don't always show up necessarily in the box score. So, proud of his development as well.
Coach, I feel like we've gotten updates on all players except Kyrie at this point. Is there any dialogue between you guys, or is there any update on that front?
No update. We stay in touch, but no update.
Bruce Beck.
Hey, Steve, back to Brian's theme on rivalry. When these two teams get together, do you appreciate the fans' energy and enthusiasm overall?
I mean, that's what sports is all about, is fan engagement, entertainment, rivalries, passion, all those things that I think draw us all into sports. And, we love sports, but we really love sports when there's some on the line, there's pride, there's rivalries, there's a little extra juice in the building. So that's, I think, hopefully what this series provides us whenever we play, and gives the fans something to get passionate about and brings an extra energy to these nights.